welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man that is currently enjoying a delicious espresso with a hint of lemon. It's Norbert Morvan. Oh man, I butchered that.
You're not going to fall with a banana in the tailpipe?
And all because they couldn't afford to go into a kitchen and grab a potato. So then they just bring in, oh man, I love that scene. They just bring in Damon Wayans. No,
that was I think that was one of his first, if not his first movie role. That was Damon Wayans.
Banana Absolutely. Man. Yeah, Banana Man.
Yeah. So he's there, and he says the plate is what, $20-$30?
Yeah.
Axel Foley doesn't run with money like that, man. So nah, just give me the bananas.
I gotta tell you, this movie. So we're talking about the entire Beverly Hills Cop franchise, which is probably the most ambitious MFF episode ever, because I could talk about all three of these. I could do like a minute of all of these, but
I'm honored.
This Beverly Hills Cop has, like, all right, for percentages from the cast list to like the deepest bench. Like, this movie has one of the deepest benches of supporting characters that
100%
I've ever seen. If someone said, Mark, which movie has the highest percentage? Like, I'm not talking about a movie with 100 people and they have 20 cool characters. Like a movie with 10 people and you love all 10 of them. I mean, just Damon Wayans, Surge in this.
That's right.
I mean, Eddie Murphy's laughing. You look at Eddie Murphy, and on set they said that he never broke Eddie Murphy, but when he was around Bronson Pinchot, he just lost it. And then you have like Ronnie Cox being excellent. James Russo is Mikey. Like, he makes such an impression. Paul Reiser? Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's hilarious in this. And like John Ashton, Reinhold, man. Like Rosemont.
No, Roseweed.
Yeah.
no, Rosewood. It's Rosewood, sir.
Oh, man. Victor Maitland's is just so good. I mean, it just has, like, Zach is in this. I mean, it has Gilbert Hill, Inspector Douglas Todd, the angry chief.
Totally.
I mean, it has the deepest bench. And even the secondary cops, the A-team, they're funny.
That's right.
Like,
they are.
This, like, and I guess I'm leaving out Jenny. Jenny's just chill as hell. Like, Jenny is one of the most relaxed movie characters I've ever met. Like, she won't let him drive. Like,
I've seen your car. You're not driving a Mercedes, and everybody's like, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
And just the deep bench of this movie, and also too, I was listening to a podcast from The Ringer where they were talking about this movie, and in the podcast, all four of the people basically said that Beverly Hills Cop 2 is a better movie. And I was talking to Megan about this because I needed to like do some Footloose-esque punch dancing to get my annoyance out from that comment.
Yeah, because that's madness.
And I said, Megan, like, do you think Beverly Hills Cop 2 is better than Beverly Hills Cop? And she goes, no.
Madness.
She goes, Beverly Hills Cop is magic. And I just went, yes, this movie is, Beverly Hills Cop is magic. Everything about is, I don't care, man. Everything about, maybe the opening chase is kind of weird. I got it. Yeah. So, but everything, like, that's probably the leftover from Stallone. But it's still I mean, just the energy of it, man. And like, it's cool. Like, Detroit Cops goes to California and just owns it. Like, he's never out of his league. He's never anything. And it's just, I mean, his performance, I mean, it's, I think it's probably, I love Bowfinger, but this is probably my favorite Eddie Murphy performance. And like, you recommended this. So like, I'm talking all about this, but why did you want to talk about the franchise?
Listen, man, I mean, Beverly Hills Cop is 1984. So brothers in cinema, they exist, but they are the thug. They're the gangster. They're the dude in the horror movie that dies 10 minutes in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Eddie
Murphy burst on screen because this wasn't his first movie, but this is the one that made him an international star. The movie, the budget is what, 14 million? It goes on to make 300 something million worldwide.
Have you seen how much it is with inflation?
Yeah.
It's 600 and let's see, 614 million. Box Office Mojo adjusted for inflation. It's the 47th highest grossing film ever when adjusted for inflation.
Yeah,
Domestically.
Bonkers. This movie is a sea change in not just how cop movies are made, how buddy movies are made, but how black people are seen on screen. Mm-hmm. And they give you a taste of the stereotypical black man when the movie starts out. Because, hey, man, look, I'm a businessman. I'm here. I need $5,000. I don't need $2,000. I need $5,000. I'm a businessman. So he does his Eddie Murphy Saturday Night Live black dude stereotype, and then as soon as he switches to cop, he's a normal dude.
Soft spoken,
barrier shattered. I'm smart. Actually, I'm smarter than you, and you don't even know it. You assume I'm dumb, but actually I'm not. And the whole movie goes off of the premise that fish out of water? Not really. Actually, you are the fish out of water. He goes to Beverly Hills and just with what we like to call the gift of gab, swindles everybody. He's pulling off the craziest shit ever just off of freestyling. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
What I love too is when he goes into the hotel to stay there, he hears that there's no more reservations left. So then he knows to go up to them and say that he made a reservation. I'm here for Rolling Stone. I'm going to interview Michael Jackson. So he's so smart. He hears a conversation, inputs it immediately into his brain, and spouts out just a beautiful. He even understands that the lady at the desk is just sort of doing her job, but he still gets in there. And
totally.
You know what? The editing in this movie, I think, is no one ever talks about the editing of this movie, but I love it because when they tell him that his room, even half off, is $230, the 2-second blank look on his face, that'll do. But that look, he freezes for his brain. Axel Foley's brain freezes for just a few seconds.
Fine.
But that look, man, the edit, I love the back and forth in this movie, the way they edit it. The timing, I think, works so well. And that's got to be a credit to Martin Brest because Murphy came onto this movie. He did 48 Hours with Nolte, but he was a co-star. Then he did Trading Places, but it was an Aykroyd movie. And he was good. He was funny in it, but it was still an Aykroyd picture. So this one, he's carrying it. And what I think Brest did well was Brest said that when he saw what Eddie Murphy could do on the first day, he's like, "Oh, this movie will be easy." and then he just said, "Hey, man, I need you to do something funny. Can you do that?" And then this movie gets nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay.
Can you imagine?
Eddie Murphy's improv.
Can you imagine? This guy goes from what? Brooklyn, New York to Hollywood at age 19, dominates Saturday Night Live, bounces, and has one of the most enduring careers in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because just about everybody from the first season of SNL, from the very first season, not that Eddie Murphy was in the first season, he was in the reboot from the Dumanian years.
Yeah.
I think it was. But SNL had long been, we launched careers here. Jane Curtin, Aykroyd,
Chase.
Bill Murray, Chase. These cats go on. They make movies separately and together, and they just make a ton of money. Eddie Murphy's the first brother to do that from the whole Saturday Night Live family. And he gets out there. And this movie, he's absolutely just making it up as he goes along. You can tell. There are certain times when it's just Eddie Murphy just freestyling off the top of the dome.
Super Cops.
Oh, my God. Unbelievable. And we get a couple of good movie tropes in here. We got Inspector Todd. Don't F with me, Axel. I didn't want to curse. The mayor's up my ass. The deputy mayor's up my ass. He's screaming at him, right?
So you're a great cop.
Yeah. He gives the exposition that, okay, Axel is a good cop, but Axel's a bit of an asshole. Axel is also just randomly making up undercover operations, it seems. Yep. You know what I mean? The character of Axel Foley is the black man who the black man thinks the cops are on the street. He takes the badge and he does whatever he wants with it, you know? But unlike a Stallone type super cop, or Bruce Willis type super cop or a Chuck Norris type super cop, his thing is not breaking into the room and breaking everybody's fingers. He's not threatening to murder you. He's like, oh, by the way, I'm the authority, and you're going to do what I tell you. Just off the straight, blah, blah, blah. You're going to believe what I'm saying because I'm coming in with confidence. I know what I'm saying. I know what I'm talking about. Oh, my. This movie's a revelation in so many ways.
And it's smart that he's not driving the truck in the beginning and chasing somebody down. It's smart that he's hanging on the back. Stallone would have driven the truck and demolished everybody.
Totally.
Eddie Murphy is a literal passenger during a wildly destructive car chase. So yes, he set up the sting and he didn't get his $5,000.
I couldn't take $2,000. If I took $2,000, they would have said that I was a cop.
Good old Mean Streets over here. I just think he's the passenger in that, and I love that about him. And you know what I'm saying? This is also a very unselfish role too, because if you look at Judge Reinhold, if you look at Taggart, Ashton, like Murphy allowed them to really shine. And I heard one thing that was interesting. There's a book, Nick DeSemblin wrote a book called Wild and Crazy Guys about the movies in the 80s. And he was a guest on Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. So you should read the book because it's awesome. And now he's the managing editor at Empire Magazine. So we had him on Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. But Ashton was talking about how when he acted with Eddie Murphy would watch him and he said that Eddie Murphy would absorb you and he would just absorb your essence and he knew exactly how to act with you. And Ronnie Cox said that when he went off on his improv bits, he would always come back to getting the line to the person so they weren't lost. So it's like if you and I have set dialogue, you go up on improv and you completely change it. And then I'm like, oh, so are we eating pizza tonight? Like he would go off on mad improv. He's like, well, I'm hungry. And then you're like, oh, are we going to eat pizza tonight? Like he would always get you back to the line you needed. And that's like, it's so interesting. I mean, watch his performance again. Like I'll never be able to watch it the same again because it does look like he absorbs people and he watches them. Like he's not waiting to wreck your joke or he's not waiting to trump card you. He's there with you in the moment. And like, I'm telling you, man, this movie is so good.
I'm so happy that this movie washed over you in that way because this is how the movie hits you in the 80s.
Yeah.
And now as a grown man, I appreciate it even more, because
it's good filmmaking. It's not like it didn't hit at the right moment. Sorry to interrupt, Norbert. It didn't hit the right moment, right? It wasn't like it wasn't like Vanilla Ice getting hot because someone else was hot. Like it wasn't like the swing craze when bands were popping up. Like it wasn't. It didn't happen because it was there at the right place, right time. Like it's a wildly fun movie because it's good. It's not just a like cultural hit and then people forget about it.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No, not at all, man. Eddie Murphy, he's in Best Defense. He's in Trading Places. He's a supporting character in these movies. And then they give him his own vehicle and boom. 3 movies in Beverly Hills Cop. $110 million budget, $712 million box office. That's not peanuts.
Yeah.
In the words of Manolo. God rest his soul. That's not peanuts. Okay? This is a serious franchise.
That's a lot of nuts.
To the point where, I mean, wasn't there a TV show that they recently tried to make out of this?
Yeah, Brandon T. Jackson, and they just shot the pilot.
They've been trying to make a Beverly Hills Cop TV show since the last movie stopped. And the last movie was terrible. We're fans of movies on this podcast, but we're not animals, okay? Beverly Hills Cop 3 is not a good movie.
It plays just so sluggish. And you know what I like about the first Beverly Hills Cop is they were coming up with the script in the morning. They brought in Eddie Murphy late. They were really shooting at the hip. But they had Bruckheimer and Simpson with them to guide them, to be there for them, to fight for them. Then when